Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back again with yet another warframe video. Today we're going to be continuing on with the warframe solo steel path series, where today we're looking at excavation. So as always, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. So as always, we're going to go through the focus score first. Now again, this is going to be dependent on where you are in the game and whether you have access to certain things. So the main two focus scores we're going to be choosing from are Uniru and Zeneric. So Uniru is going to be for those players who have a means to maintain energy. For example, Arcane Energize, pads, or even warframe abilities which have been subsumed to the helmets. In which case, if you need help with damage side of things, you're going to be using Uniru. Now, you have Magnetic Flare and Caustic Strike. Now these are going to strip shields and armor respectively, making the enemies easier to deal with because they are just going to be pure flesh. Now, a thing to note is if you are going to be using Uniru, you do have Poise as the passive ability, which gives you immunity to slow, staggering, and knockdown effects. So basically acts as your own prime sure-footed, which is what you want to take into account when going into the builds. So the Zeneric focus score is going to be for those players who can deal with damage but don't have any means to maintain energy. So again, Arcane Energize, pads, those sorts of things. In which case we have Wellspring and Hardened Wellspring to help us with that. Now, these are going to allow us to gain that passive energy throughout the mission. Now we're going to get into the builds. Okay, so the first frame we're going to be talking about is Khora Prime. Now, for the build itself, we are going to be using Physique in the Aura slot mod. Now this can be replaced with Rejuvenation if you prefer this, but personally I like the extra health. Then we're running Overextended, Augur Reach, Stretch, and Cunning Drift for ability range, giving us a total of 280%. Now I know that Cunning Drift is a lure puzzle mod essentially, so if you don't have it, you can run with 265% strength as well. But of course, the more range, the better. And also, Augur Reach is going to be nice because 40% of the energy spent is going to be given to shields. Now, if we do get a bit low on shields, we can always spam our Whip Claw to rebuild those shields back if we need to. Then we're running Primed Flow here for energy capacitance. We will be getting a lot of energy orbs from a lot of enemies, as we are going to be simultaneously gaining those power cells to put into the excavator. So it's going to be good to pick those up and store them so that we can use it to cast our abilities later on in the mission. Then we're running Streamline for, of course, a bit of efficiency, Prime Continuity for some ability duration. Now, although it only gives us 45%, we're actually gaining 30 seconds duration for our Strangledome, which is quite a bit of time. And then we've got Rolling Guard here in case of any emergencies. We get rushed, we can roll, we get all the status effects removed, and we're immune for basically 3 seconds. Now in terms of arcanes, I am running a survivability arcane in Guardian, and then of course Energize to have that energy maintenance to cast those abilities. And of course in the exo slot I am running Coaction Drift, but again, if you don't have this because it is a drift mod, then you can just run without. So this build can pretty much be used in any scenario. Grenier, Corpus, Infested, any of those missions, you can use Khora. Now, the thing about her, which is really good, is that because of the increased range, we get a general radius of 14 meters, and then on top of that, a 28 meter grab radius. Now, this is just going to make it so that enemies can't stay just out of range of your Strangledome and be able to shoot at the excavator and eventually destroy it. So, that is that build. Now we're going to move into our second frame. Okay, so the second frame we're going to be using is Vauban. Now the reason is we're going to be using his fourth ability, Vortex, to not only prevent the enemies from attacking the excavator, but they're all going to be sucked into one location, allowing us to deal with them a lot easier and gain those energy orbs to keep that energy maintenance up. So first of all, in the Aura mod, we are running Energy Siphon for the passive energy rate. Now again, this is going to contribute to that energy maintenance. We're running Overextended, Augur Reach, and Stretch for ability range. Now we're not running Cunning Drift this time because we are using Coaction Drift to increase the effectiveness of that energy siphon and again keep that energy rate up. Then we're running Streamline, of course, again for a bit of efficiency. Prime Flow here for again energy capacitance. All those energy orbs we get from those enemies, we can collect them up, store them, and then use them to cast our abilities throughout that mission. Again, Prime Continuity for some duration. Now, because Vauban has a lower default health and shield at 300 each compared to Khora, we have gone with 2 mods for survivability essentially. Vitality for extra health, bringing us to 700, and then also Rolling Guard again for any overwhelming situations, remove all those status effects and become invulnerable for those 3 seconds. And as I've mentioned, Coaction Drift to increase effectiveness of our energy siphon. Now, because of this energy siphon and Coaction Drift pairing, you may not actually need Arcane Energize, but of course I'm running it anyway because I have it. And then second Arcane, I'm running Molt Efficiency. Now this is only rank 0, so of course ranking it up to rank 5 is going to be your best option, but it's going to allow us to increase our ability duration per second up to, of course, the maximum. So that's the build. Now I would only really use this build in infested missions since their primary attack is melee based. There's not many enemies within that faction that actually use projectiles, so it's mostly melees. Okay, so if you are running Corpus Excavations, then I would recommend that you either take a fully auto rifle or the Mitre, purely because those nullifiers are going to be very damaging, especially with Vauban, because with Vauban they'll cut his vortex off completely. Now with Khora, they may only cause breakages within the dome, but that can overall eventually lead to complete breakage of the dome, or they can keep attacking you and may down you. So with the Mitre, I would recommend, of course, neutralizing Justice. Each Mitre blade has a 90% chance to immediately destroy a nullifier bubble. And then once you have that on, just slap a bunch of speed mods. I've got Speed Trigger, Vigilante Fervor, and Vile Acceleration. Now this is just going to make it so that we can get rid of that bubble as quickly as possible. Now, neutralizing Justice is a definite. If you don't have this mod, then don't bother with the Mitre, but I would highly recommend that you get both the weapon and this mod. And that is it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you did go on to enjoy this video or other content on the channel, consider subscribing. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Peace. So catch me if I fall.